Well, I'll tell you the origin behind that. It was not out of any form of trying to emulate or copy anything that had come before. It just purely and simply a fact that in the comic book, in my research, I discovered a description of Dredd's voice, and it said that his voice sounded like a saw cutting through bone. So that was kind of my interpretation of what that was. And here's the thing: I didn't want to play this character as a bellowing, posturing Dredd, shouting out lines. That was the choice that I did not want to make. For me, it's far more interesting to have a character trying to contain the rage and the violence. And without the use of my eyes, I had to figure out where that voice was going to sit and how I could basically maximize the opportunity to express as much as I could in any given moment. And that was where it ended up being. Yeah.
Okay, cool. You read a lot of the comics and research you were saying, and did you grow up reading them at all? And if so, what were some of your favorite storylines? And assuming this does really well, what would you like to see in the next movie?
Oh, sorry.
So storyline-wise from the comics, what would you like to see in the next movie?
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, it's sort of being, presumptuous at this point. I mean, just sort of,
or just a favorite storyline you read?
Favorite storyline? I mean, I'd love to make more, don't get me wrong. I really would. If this blows up, I would definitely love to make more. But favorite storylines, I loved the long walk into the necropolis story. That's literally one of my favorites. The whole Kraken and dead judges, Anderson getting encased in Boeing, that whole story. Judge Dredd Origins, I think it's really good, and particularly for anybody who is not familiar with the Dredd world, that's like a really good kind of entry-level story. And it was a comic that was written relatively late in the history of Dredd. So there's kind of a wonderful maturity about it and a questioning which I particularly like. And America, I really like America as well, because Dredd's he's literally the bad guy in that story. Yeah.
I know you talked about, just using your mouth and your nose earlier, but I was wondering if you do, this is something that you do, if you could take us through like a step-by-step process of becoming the judge, like what you have to do to yourself, to your mind.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well the first thing that I did was spend about 14 weeks in a gym lifting heavy things. I got into sick shape and worked out twice a day, ate 6 or 7 times a day, and it was hell. It was torture. I mean, it was like I was not a nice person to live with during that process. And even more than that, actually, I had to promote Red while training for Dredd. So I was flying internationally, meeting up with you guys, and I'd finished doing one of these, get with my trainer and go down and find a gym, and we would be hopping on planes with suitcases of food. So anyway, yeah, so there was the physical aspect. Then obviously I just went through a huge process of sort of getting my hands on every single Dredd comic that I could, and I compiled a book which I'd find something in the source material that was relevant to the film, or something that I wanted to do, or a tone that I liked, whether it be a dry one-liner or even just something that I thought that was a particular strong image that we should incorporate in the film. So I just compiled this book, and it was through that process that I discovered the whole voice thing. So I had to find that door. And then when I got on the ground in Cape Town, then began the process of sort of physically morphing into the character. I served about 3 weeks of pre-production before we started shooting. Every day I would come in and I would don the full outfit and just stay in it all day and learn to sort of how to walk and how to move and what the limitations were, which I'd have to say honestly wasn't that comfortable considering it was Cape Town in summer. I'm wearing a full leather bike outfit and a helmet. And then it was a lot of discussion, obviously, with Alex Garland, and I was really blessed the fact that he was out, and you know, we would sit down, and I know that he went through the script with Wagner, and Wagner says, no, take it out less, Dredd says less. And then he met me after that, and I was like, take that out. No, I said, Dredd says less. Like, I was just trying to reduce it down to the bare minimum. And that was really. And then there was also the combat stuff, that aspect. You know, we hooked up with an ex-British military team of guys, and they taught us how to, you know, move together and clear a space and move tactically. And then they gave us these airsoft pistols, which were made up as replicas of the Lawgiver. And then they put stuntmen hidden in the set, and then we had to go through the set. They were shooting at us, and we were shooting at them, and that was kind of cool to sort of really feel like what the end game was, and you know, you could actually, it really helped inform me as to, you know, how to move and stuff in this film.